Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and we're in here at the hydraulic press, and we're going to start straightening a lead screw. Now, I want to call out AJ Mastro-Bruno, I believe is his last name. I hope I said that right, AJ. I'm calling out AJ because he's the motivation to do a video on this. All right, so I was showing this jokingly. Have you ever been lead screwed? Well, that's where you're led to believe that the movers can handle the job, and later you found out they can't. That's lead screwed. And on my Facebook, and he says, hey, how about a video there? And AJ watched a lot of my videos, like a lot of you, and so I give him a call out on this one here. I get asked, how do you straighten lead screws? And the only answer I have is any which way you can without causing any other damage to the lead screw other than what's already been caused. And if you can fix anything along the way, you go ahead and do that. So I'm going to bring you in close, and we're going to go ahead and start setting up, and we're going to get a look at this shaft. And actually here you can see it spinning from that end there, and as it rotates around, you can actually see the small end whipping out. And here's a view from the other end, and it kind of gives you an idea of that. Now you can notice that the two shafts are riding on areas that don't have that keyway cut that's the full length in there. And you also notice that we have an 1.125" diameter down there, and we have a 7/8 diameter on this roller here. And the reason why we're able to do this is because of the right roller kits. And I'm using one of the right roller kits that I put together last year, and we're going to be putting together another one. We're going to be taking one to stands at the bash, and we're also going to be there, and we're going to share some more straightening techniques, and I'm going to go ahead and follow through and go from start to finish in straightening the shaft. Show a few other tips that I have using the rollers and checking face runouts and some things like that. All right, so let's bring you in and let's get started on this one. Okay, one of the first things I'm going to do is, because we're going to be indicating over the lead screw itself and the threads of the lead, okay, and that's why it's called, because of that pitch, that lead, and it also has a keyway that goes the full length, okay, and both of those have driving principles of rapid and also feed. Now I need to have an indicator going on here, and of course as this rotates, that thread is got a helix of motion, and this little plunger on the indicator is going to fall down between there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the little plunger off of here, and we grab our wheel of Starrett there, little contact tips, really nice way to keep your contacts. And this one here on the top has got a flat surface, so we're going to pull that one out there. That will let us spread across the top of the threads, and the indicator will maintain measuring the diameter. And we're going to go ahead and screw this in here, and it's a standard thread on this indicator as well. All right, and so we don't lose it, we'll put the stock tip back in there. This is an LS Starrett company standard ring here, and this is number 25R, if anybody was inquiring about that. All right, let's set that off to the side so we don't smash it or ruin it. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to put our indicator in here, and yeah, we got pretty good travel right there. I had a shaft, and I was just sitting there, the steam wagon shaft there for Nate. That's where the indicator was set, so same height off of the rollers that were in there. All right, now let's talk about how are we going to map and what are we looking for in this. We do know that when you rotate this around, we have a bend. All right, Now we're going to be looking for the high part of the bend, but we have this diameter here, and we also have this diameter here. Let's bring you around to the other side so we can explain this a little bit better. Okay, we're looking off the end of the shaft here. This is this opening right here. It looks like a hole, you know, drilled off to the side, and it is on purpose, and it's the locking pin for this cog. This cog is so that it has a spring load in here, and your handle can come in and out on the side of it, and this actually mounts in here, and that pinhole goes through. And at this point is the bearing. Of course, this bearing's got a piss poor feeling here, and this bearing actually needs to be replaced. It doesn't feel too good. But what I'm getting at is this is where the pivot or the bearing was, and then the strap or whatever was put around the screw to lift this thing up and create the bend was put in about this area down in here. I have some Sharpie marking the spot. Okay, I believe it's right over there, somewhere within right there. All right, so it was down just a little bit farther from there. Now when it was pulled in there, it pivots in the bearing, even though the bearings are locked in a cage there, and I think the thrust is set at the other end. So this is just cylindrical bearings holding this in here, and it actually cocked it inside the housing slightly. You know, the bearings, I mean, you know, they're only 1/2 inch wide, so you can theoretically force those to bend. Anyway, it held it in line this way here. It didn't break any of the housings or anything else, from what I understand. And so you can see that this is running out here, and it's bent here, and this is a reaction for that action. And we don't know how much it really tweaked in between this lead screw thread, which is pretty close to the same diameter as this. So it may not be the weak point, but we may have a little bit of a bend one way or the other way, because that bearing was there, and it might have been holding somewhat rigid, but still letting it move a little bit. And we might actually have two bends. We might have one up here and we might have one here, but we don't know exact right now, because it is running out so far that we can't distinguish the one from the other. They both look like the same bend. When that goes down, this goes up. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a straight edge. I'm going to show you how I determined exactly where the major part of that bend is. And so we'll go around to the other side there, and then I'll explain that. It's a combination between the indicator and a straight edge. Okay, with the indicator on our marked spot there, this happens to be, well, we can roll this around here. And a lot of people got to start out with 0. I can do the math in my head there, but about 85 thousandths we're running out with this 0, and that 0 down at the other end of the rod. Okay, now we wanted to know, you know, we've gone up and down here, but how do we pinpoint that as far as being where we think the greater part of the bend is on our rod? And we took a straight edge, and I use my 24-inch Starrett scale a lot for a straight edge, and on the high side here, we can feel it rocking back and forth. With a flashlight shining underneath there, you can see that it's touching over here, and then it gets to touching about over here, and right in this area right here, and we pinpointed that the fattest part was right there. All right, now we got our flat foot sitting here, and we got it on the spot marked right here where we were just showing you with the flashlight. All right, and here again, this is where we had about 85 thousandths right here. Now if you go this way here, you start falling off pretty quickly. Okay, it gets less and less. Okay, it's like walking. It's a gradual sweep. But this right here, it doesn't fall off too much on this side here. It stays pretty strong, okay, until you get up in here. So the distance that's running out in that 3-foot ratio is the same amount that's in this ratio right here. That's why we put the straight edge on there, and we wanted to pinpoint it. We don't think it was, you know, we wanted to find that arc or that pinpoint right there, pretty much where that strap actually happened, is what I'm getting to. And we're going to use this point here to support for our first push, and then we're going to just split the difference here. We got 2 bars. Let me back you up a little bit. Okay, we got two parallels here, and we got 3 chunks of lead, and these are just ingots, and we're going to use this because I want to use this so that we do not damage any of the threads, so the lead screw and the nut will still work exactly like it's supposed to through those threaded areas. Okay, so we're going to slide this off of here. We're going to get ourselves some power, and we're going to lift up the lead screw. We're going to get our parallel in here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to support the lead screw, and we know that the low side was right there, almost straight across on that key right there. All right, I like that right there. Bring this down close. I'm choking this side up a little bit. I want to make sure that I'm right there on it. Alright? Move snack tray. Very important. Don't mess up snack tray. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my smaller scale. Okay, I'm just giving it a little push. I want to find out how fast it will bend. Okay, we got it down to 50 thousandths right there. Well, even less than that. $42 thousandths. Okay, we're gonna get an indicator because this doesn't travel too far. We're gonna get an indicator to where I can mount it on this ram and see how far I'm actually traveling down, because it's gonna be a certain amount of push. And if you go past that, you get a bend it the other way. So you need to be able to control how far you're pushing it in between these 2 points right here. Now, if we keep the same spacing, we keep this foot on here, we're barely denting. I mean, that, you know, that shows you we're pushing on that lead screw. Same thing there. Same thing there. I can't hardly see that one, but I'm sure there is one there. All right, we remapped where the high is, and we got about 50 thousandths, and it's closer to the bearing surface here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mark it on this side of the key because it is higher just that side of the keyway, but that's the high point. Now this time we take this distance to the bearing distance, we set up this block here, this will be center ram, and then we're going to be supporting the other side, like right over here, equal distance. Okay, I got a board over here so I can extend my rod out past my table and not worry about the weight of it, like lowering it down, so I can easily come in here and grab some pressure. We've got the span where we said we were going to have it. We wanted to be right underneath this bearing here. We want to make sure that we don't get out here, because we don't want to bend it at that weak point right there. So we want everything to be inside here. Now we still may have to go ahead and make sleeves, that this diameter sleeve and that diameter sleeve, to actually help in pressing if we have to get really nitpicky in here. But what we have right now is our indicators up here, and we have a foot against the top here, and it's set about the 1 inch travel, and we're gonna bring it down a couple thousandths, get a feel of it. We're gonna remember where we were. We'll raise it back up, we're going to check it, and we'll go back and forth until we create the amount of bend we want to go without going too far. Well, that's looking pretty good. Okay, let's see where we were. This is exactly where we were measuring. We'll shut that off for right now. Okay, high side's a little bit on the other side of the key, but it's still pretty close. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and we'll sweep it to 0. We're about 32 thousandths right now. So we took 20 thousandths out. We went about 100 thousandths on the press at that position there. We're going to rotate it. We're going to rotate it now to this side of the split line, about right there. Okay, we're going to draw another line right there. This end is starting to look a lot better now too. Okay, let's just make sure that we're not greater out here. We are. That's about 40. And are we getting less this way? About 35. We're running about 50 there. We do know that we have a bend in here, but it is showing us that we are bent hard right close to this bearing here too. We're gonna have to work both areas. Okay, we're set up, ready to go here. This is loose here, so we're gonna bring it down. Okay, it's touching, and we're right about where we were, within 10 thousandths. That's 50 thousandths. There's 100 thousandths. There's 125. I think I want to go another 10 here. Okay. That was 130 thousandths. We're running about 20, and it's a little bit on this side of the split line now. All right, let's see where we're at here. We're running about 40 there, and we're high on the other side. Okay, so I think we're bent like this now on the lead screw, and we're bent like this at that joint right here. So we're going to verify where our greatest amount is on the lead screw. We're up to about 50, so we might do a span in the middle to get this to run true. Let's go over here to this side. We're about 30. Right there at that end there. And that's reading about 40. All right, so we're going to be playing. It has a little bit of this in here, but we need to get this down to where that's not going to be affecting the run of the machine here. This injury here, pulling it or whatever, might have bent it, but it has another little bend. It's showing it had a little bit more S to it than straight. That's a high there. Same thing over here. So it's gradual like that. All right. Okay, that roller next to that shoulder down there is running 0. Where this bearing is running is 0. We came back this way here until we found a point here in the lead screw that is just barely fluctuating. So we're going to call this 0, and we're going to put a little Sharpie in the line. So we're going to put a support here and a support there, and then we're going to push in the center of that span to go ahead and bring the bow that's in here out of between here and there. It's gradual, and it's that whole length right there, and we think we're going to get it out fairly simple. We get that section there running true. Then we just have left is the little bend down here where it was close to that support, and that is nearly, I mean, it's like 1/4 of what it was before we started. On this end out here. That's what I'm talking about. All right, now let's find our high. Our high is on this side of the lead screw, and we have a mark there. All right, let's set that up. Okay, here again, this is the very first time we're going to be pushing at this span here. We know that the other one, we were up at 130 for that short distance that was in there. That was working for pressure there as far as our reading here. So this is kind of new. And I don't think it's going to, it's a larger span, so it'll probably have to move farther. But we got to test it out first. Okay, this is loose. Okay. There's 100. There's 200. we'll give 200 a try. All right. Now we'll go ahead and we'll slide this one out of the way first, and slide this one. Well, we moved it. I don't know if we went too far. That's still a high, and it's still about 50,000. So we didn't move it. Okay, so we got to go more than 200. All right, go back in with our blocks. And we were right there. Okay, 100, 200, 300. Now this is where you go, okay, is that enough, or should I take it more? It's easy enough to set up. Let's go. That was 300. All right. I like finding just that edge there that where you are making a difference. And I don't know if that's more or less. Let's take a look. We're still high there. We may have actually taken a little bit off of it. I'm getting 40 now, and I thought we were pretty close to 50. Okay, that was 300. All right, let's go again. Okay, that's where we were. 1, 2, 3, 4. $25,000, and we're in the same location, maybe about an hour off of rotation. Meaning the difference between there and there. Okay, that was 400. Okay, now before we go again, we want to just double check. We're a little less, that's 20. Let's see where our zero mark was. Our zero mark was right here. How are we maintaining there? Within about 3 thousandths. Okay, just an area of checking. And let's check up here. And we're about 25 there. Hello. Hey. Okay. Thank you. Love you, bye. Okay, 10-minute warning for dinner. Okay, guys, I gotta scrub up. Alright, so afterwards, we're gonna write this down. We don't know how my memory's gonna be after dinner. Okay, that was 400 started giving us some movement, and that brought it down to about 25 thousandths. And the other span, the short span we were working on, we were at 200 to get that to move. And I'm just going to write short span. Okay, so we're 400 there, we're 200 on a short span, we're 25 thousandths, and that looks like it's taking that gradual bend right out of there. We're holding good. We're getting her done.